Okay, so you know the drill, right? You've got your favorite reusable water bottle, you fill it up, you take it everywhere, and at the end of the day, maybe you give it a quick rinse. I mean, it's just water. What's the harm? Well, it turns out maybe a lot more than you think. And one viral video just made everyone take a much closer look at what they're sipping from. And this is the post that probably sent a shiver down a lot of spines. Seeing those little black spots hidden in all the nooks and crannies of a bottle lid, it's a pretty common sight if you're not careful. It really makes you wonder, what is that stuff, and how often are we actually supposed to be cleaning these things? All right, let's pull back the curtain and meet the uninvited guests that might be setting up camp inside your water bottle. And yeah, it's not just one thing, it's a whole tiny ecosystem in there. So first up, you've got bacteria. Pretty much every time you take a sip, you're transferring a little bit of what's in your mouth right into the bottle. Combine that with any bacteria floating around in the air, and boom, you've got a party. Now, the good news is most of this is just your own stuff, and it's totally harmless. But you know, some less friendly germs could always decide to crash the party. This right here, this is what you're seeing in those blackish spots. It's mold, a fungus that just absolutely loves damp, dark places, like the inside of your bottle cap. For most people, it's not going to make you seriously sick or anything unless you've got an allergy, but it can definitely cause some irritation. And let's be honest, it's just gross. And this is how all those little microbes stick around. They literally build a house for themselves. It's called a biofilm. It's that slimy, kind of slick feeling you might notice if you run your finger inside a bottle that hasn't been washed in a while. This film is a protective shield that lets the bacteria and mold just hang out, multiply, and become way harder to get rid of. At the end of the day, it all boils down to something super simple, just like Martin Bucknavage from Penn State points out here. All you need are two ingredients, a surface and some moisture. Your bottle has both. That's it. It's the perfect environment for germs to grow, and it's exactly why a simple rinse just doesn't cut it. So this brings us to the million-dollar question. We know they can get nasty, but what's the magic number? How often do you really need to be washing your water bottle? Well, the experts have a couple of different thoughts on this. On one hand, you've got what you could call the daily standard. Martin Bucknavage says you should really treat your bottle just like any other dish. If you use it today, wash it today. Simple. But then there's the more flexible approach from Dr. Donald Schaffner. He says if you're only putting water in it, washing it every few days, maybe even just once a week, could be okay. But that flexibility comes with some pretty big conditions. And here are those conditions: that every few days rule. It really only works if your bottle is just sitting on your desk all day with nothing but plain water in it. The second you add coffee, a sports drink, anything with sugar, well, that's just food for bacteria, and you need to wash it after every single use. Same goes if it's rattling around in a gym bag, or if the mouthpiece is touching a bunch of different surfaces. Oh, and fun fact, plastic bottles can get tiny scratches that are perfect hiding spots for germs, so they often need to be cleaned more than glass or steel ones. Okay, so let's get to the solution, because how you wash your bottle is every bit as important as how often. And I'll tell you right now, a quick swirl of water isn't going to do a thing against that biofilm we talked about. Your absolute best bet, if your bottle is dishwasher safe, is to just toss it in there. The heat and detergent are super effective. If you're washing by hand, remember this word, friction. You need soap and a good bottle brush to physically scrub that gunk off the walls. And please, don't forget the cap. Grab a little straw cleaner or even an old toothbrush to get into all those tiny grooves where the mold loves to hide. You can sanitize it every once in a while, but that's not something you need to do every day. But honestly, the single most critical step in this whole entire process is the one that happens after you're done washing. You have to let it air dry completely. Remember what the expert said? Microbes need moisture. If you screw the cap on while it's still damp inside, you're basically locking them in a perfect little greenhouse to start growing all over again. Okay, I know, we've seen the mold, we've talked about slimy biofilm, it's all a little unsettling. So let's just take a breath and ask the real question. How worried should you actually be about getting sick from your water bottle? And here is some very good news from Dr. Schaffner. The truth is, while it's not exactly hygienic, your water bottle probably isn't public enemy number one. The chances of it making a healthy person really sick are actually pretty low. And that's because most of the bacteria in there came from your own mouth, and your body already knows how to handle them. Now, low risk does not mean zero risk. For you to actually get sick, it would kind of have to be a perfect storm. You'd need to pick up the right kind of bad germ, there would need to be a lot of it, and your immune system would have to be having an off day. If all that happened, you might end up with an upset stomach, Or if you're sensitive to mold, maybe some allergy-like symptoms. So it's not likely, but it's not impossible either.
So, in the end, this isn't about being terrified of your water bottle. It's just about simple hygiene. The experts actually suggest that when you're buying a reusable bottle, you should think about how easy it is to clean. Does it have a ton of complicated little parts? Is it hard to take apart? Because really, the best bottle for you isn't just about the color or the logo. It's the one you're actually going to take the time to clean properly, day after day. It's a small habit, but it makes a huge difference.